let's start. So the last topic of today's session is management of genital herpes in pregnancy. Okay, it is a guideline which was launched in 2014. So, but first of all, we will again we want to study herpes. Why? For the neonate. Okay, like in GBS. So, neonatal herpes is very rare, but kindly unmute your mic, please. Whosoever is, let me see. Uh, yes, okay. So it is a very rare but serious infection, and there are basically three types we need to remember. Okay, neonatal herpes. We are talking about neonatal herpes, not maternal herpes. Maternal herpes is of two types. We will discuss in the whole guideline again and again. But let's have a look on what is neonatal herpes and why it is important. Disease localized to the skin, eye, or mouth. Okay, it is a least invasive form, and total of 30% of neonatal herpes, which is localized to skin, eye, and mouth. And it has the best prognosis, as the name shows, because it is localized, so it has the best prognosis. And with antiviral therapy, neurological or ocular morbidity is less than 2%. And there is no mortality with disease localized to skin, eye, or mouth. And the other two neonatal infections, local CNS and disseminated infection, together they make other 70% of the neonatal herpes. Local CNS mortality is 6% and neurological morbidity is 70%. While in disseminated infection, as the name is disseminated, so it will have a worst prognosis. So it has the highest mortality rate, 30%. See, in the localized to skin, eye, and mouth, the mortality rate has not been given. Local CNS 6% mortality, but in disseminated infection, it is 30% mortality. In terms of morbidity, it has 17% morbidity, but in local CNS, it has a neurological morbidity 70%. Why? Because it definitely going to infect this. It is a type of it is a disease of CNS, so definitely it is going to infect CNS. So that's why high morbidity. But in case of disseminated infection, it can infect any system. Maybe it does not infect CNS and infect other systems. So these are all morbidities are neurological morbidity. So that's why in disseminating disease, which is more severe, but the morbidity is less, and the mortality is almost half of the morbidity. Okay. So what are the three types of neonatal herpes? Only names?
One is
Localized to skin, eye, and mouth.
localized to skin, eyes,
Yes.
and mouth. Localized
Yes.
CNS and disseminated.
Yes, very good.
Disseminated.
And which has best prognosis and which has worst prognosis?
Localized
Localized,
skin, eye,
best
and mouth has
prognosis.
worst,
Yes.
and disseminated had worst.
Yes, yes. Aska, Cortulan, Sarish, localized best. Localized what? Localized CNS has best prognosis, or localized skin, eye has best prognosis?
Localized skin, eye, and mouth has best
Yes.
prognosis.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Sabah Fazal, localized CNS, no Sabah, not localized CNS, localized skin, eye. Okay. Yes, Sarish, yes, right. Okay. So there are two types of herpes simplex virus, type 1 and type 2. Okay, both types can cause genital herpes, and they have a equal amount of causing genital herpes. Equal proportion of causing genital herpes, 50% HSV1 and 50% HSV2. And the spread is mostly due to direct contact with maternal infected maternal secretions. Some may be due to postnatal infection, almost 25%. We will discuss it at the end of the lecture, the postnatal infection, but mostly 75% is due to direct contact with the infected maternal secretions. That's why we have discussed earlier that herpes is the infection in which it is very important to decide which mode of delivery is needed. Okay. So there are some very important points of every guideline which are repeated again and again. For example, in GBS, the thing which was repeated again and again was that if the patient is GBS positive, then we will offer only IAP, and if the patient is not GBS positive, we will not offer IAP. That was the hallmark of the GBS guideline. And the hallmark of the herpes is that primary infection is very severe and recurrent infection is not severe. So remember, in herpes, primary infection cesarean section, recurrent infection SVT. Primary infection high risk, cesarean section, especially primary infection in third trimester, and recurrent infection less severe or low risk, and SVT. These points will be repeated again and again, this guideline, and this is the hallmark of herpes. So transmission. Yes, Gulshan. Yes, right, Gulshan. Siddha, I think all are mute now. Yeah, I can't hear anyone. Okay, so transmission depends on the 5 factors. Okay, type of maternal infection, whether it is primary or recurrent, the presence of transplacental maternal neutralizing antibodies, duration of rupture of membranes before delivery in every infection. Is it important? See, here again, duration of rupture of membranes before delivery, but in GBS it was before labor. See the difference: before labor, before delivery. The use of fetal scalp electrode and the mode of delivery. These are 5 points on which transmission depends. So what is the greatest risk? Greatest risk is primary infection 3rd trimester, particularly within 6 weeks of delivery, right? So what is congenital herpes? Congenital herpes is very rare due to transplacental intrauterine infection. We have studied earlier in the previous slide that most of the infection due to the contact with the infected maternal secretion. So it is very rare that herpes goes through placenta to the baby, which we call congenital herpes. And most of the time it is a local disease, skin, eye, or CNS. And other it causes FGR and fetal death. Very rarely it comes under the category of disseminated infection. Okay, if a baby has a disseminated herpes, then it cannot be congenital. Most likely it will be a primary infection in mother. No recurrent infection can cause disseminated herpes in the baby. No transplacental spread can cause disseminated herpes. Whenever they say disseminated herpes, remember it must be a primary infection in the mother. Okay, so what is the greatest risk of the patient? High risk patient, highest risk patient?
In third
Primary
trimester.
infection within 6 weeks of
Primary
delivery.
infection in third trimester.
Yes,
Primary infection in third trimester.
third trimester, preferably in how many weeks? 6 weeks,
Within 6
particularly
weeks
in
of
6
delivery.
weeks. Yes, particularly
6 weeks.
Yes, Sabah. Yes, very good. 6 weeks. Twinkle, right? Nida, primary infection, third trimester. Gulshan, Rabia, Noor, primary infection, third trimester. Right. Okay. So disseminated herpes in mother. Then disseminated herpes will occur in mother if we have discussed in chicken pox that hepatitis, dissemination, pneumonia, and encephalitis only occur in immunocompromised and pregnant women. Here again the same situation. The disseminated herpes in which multi-systems involved only occur in pregnancy and immunocompromised. For example, if the woman is HIV positive, then it will be immunocompromised. Then it can cause encephalitis, hepatitis, disseminated skin lesions, and even maternal mortality. If a woman comes with co-infection of HSV or HIV, what will it cause? It is very dangerous because it not only increases replication of both viruses. Remember, in this way, both viruses, if the 2 viruses come together, they will help each other grow. Okay? Devil will help devil to grow. HSV will help HIV, HIV will help HSV. So replication of both viruses. Okay? And if there is more replication, then more perinatal transmission of both viruses. So it is a very dangerous condition if both the viruses coexist. Okay, and then it can definitely lead to disseminated herpes because the viruses are helping each other. Again, the all algorithm, which is again very, very, very important. Yes, Gulshan. Yes, it's right. Okay. So in this algorithm, first of all, we will discuss if the two conditions. Concentrate on A and B. Okay. First of all, A. If the woman is having recurrent genital herpes, then what we will do, we will treat it with standard doses of acyclovir if necessary. We will discuss what is the standard dose of acyclovir in herpes, and if the woman has primary acquisition of genital herpes in the first or second trimester. Remember, we have discussed that primary acquisition is more dangerous in third trimester, but if it is first or second trimester, then we will treat the primary infection with standard doses of acyclovir. Okay, what is the standard dose? 400 milligram TDS. And what was the dose in the chicken pox of acyclovir?
800 milligram 5 times a day.
Yes, very good. 800 milligrams 5 times a day. Not Neelam, 8 hourly 5 times a day, dear. Yes, Rabia, 800 milligram 5 times a day. Very good. Okay. So, recurrent genital herpes and primary infection in the first and second trimester almost behave similarly, right? They are very low risk. Okay, in that we will give 400 milligram TDS at the time of the infection, and then from 36 weeks. Why we are giving from 36 weeks till 40 weeks acyclovir?
To decrease shedding of virus.
Yes, yes.
To decrease
Yes.
shedding of virus.
Yes, yes, exactly. To decrease shedding of virus, basically, because if we are aiming for vaginal delivery, because the patient is at risk at the time of delivery because of the infected maternal secretions. Everyone knows Gulshan, Sarish, I'm very happy. Aska, Huda, everyone knows decreased shedding of virus. Very good. Okay. So, if it is a recurrent genital herpes or primary acquisition in the first or second trimester, and we have given proper prophylaxis for suppression of the virus from 36 weeks onwards, then we can offer vaginal delivery. And in that case, treatment is standard, according to standard, and we will do normal post-op care. But if there are genital HSV lesions at the time of delivery, okay, for example, we will discuss it later, recurrent herpes at the time of the labor, still we will go for normal delivery, but we will be extra vigilant of the baby. We will not discharge the baby till 24 hours. And what was the amount of time in GBS for which we need to observe the baby?
It was 12 hours.
12
hours.
hours. Yes, yes, good. Yes, Aska, Sarish, Nadia, yes, right. Everyone is active and alert. Okay, 12 hours. And in here, it is 24 hours. So postnatal care, we will only observe the patient for 24 hours. Okay, but if some problem occurs, if baby shows any abnormal size like poor feeding, poor respiratory effort, or restless, then we will go for we will put the baby from well baby to unwell baby category. Okay, otherwise we will monitor for 24 hours, then we will discharge the patient, advising the parents that they have, if any concerns about the baby, they can again come. I can't hear you, Sumbal. Everyone else can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, I
Sumbal,
can.
please. Okay, Sumbal, check your speaker, please. Right. So now come to the point C, which is the highest risk. If a women acquire primary herpes at third trimester, then we will do like in first or second trimester, we will treat the primary episode, and then we will give 400 milligram suppression dose until delivery. From the time, if after 28 weeks at any time patient comes with the herpes, then we will continue 400 milligram TDS till delivery. Okay, and there is a recommendation of planned cesarean section, especially within 6 weeks. Okay, though it cesarean should be after 28 weeks, but especially 6 weeks. Now, if patient insists for vaginal delivery, and the other condition is if patient goes for cesarean section. If the patient goes for cesarean section, then no problem. As usual, as every viral infection, we will inform the neonatologist, routine post-op care, and keep the baby under observation for 24 hours, and advise parents regarding any, if they have any concerns, they can visit later on. But if the women has primary herpes in the third trimester and she wants vaginal delivery, then we will inform neonatologist, and after the delivery of the baby, we will have a look on the baby. If the baby is well, then what we will do, we will start in both cases, if the baby well or unwell. If vaginal delivery has occurred in third trimester herpes, then we will send swabs. There are 4 swabs to send for HSV PCR. There's a very famous mnemonic for its score. S for skin, C for conjunctiva, O for oropharynx, R for rectum. We will take swab from 4 points and send for HSV PCR. Whether the baby is well or baby is unwell. If the baby is well, we will start acyclovir 20 milligrams per kg TDS for 10 days while awaiting the results for the swabs. But if the baby is unwell, along with swabs, we will also perform lumbar puncture and send HSV for PCR. Even if the baby have no neurological sinus symptoms, still if the baby is unwell, we will send CSF for the HSV PCR. Okay, am I clear? Is there anything you don't understand in this table?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay, should we move ahead? This algorithm is very clear, but it is comparatively easy than the previous algorithms.
I want to ask one thing. Do we need to start in the unwell baby as well?
Sorry?
Do we need to start antibiotic as well in the unwell baby while performing lumbar puncture?
Why we will give a to unwell baby, we will give antiviral, not antibiotic.
Sorry, antiviral. That's what I'm asking.
Yes. After vaginal delivery, in both the babies, we will send swabs and we will start acyclovir. The only difference between well baby and unwell baby is, in unwell baby, we will do lumbar puncture.
And one thing more I want to ask, in the C, they are saying that we will consider acyclovir. Like it's not, we can just discuss with the patient.
We will consider acyclovir. We will give standard dose. Why is it we will consider acyclovir? Anyone can answer why. You have mentioned a very good point. Anyone can answer why they have written consider. Though in recurrent and in first trimester they have said we will give. Why in highest risk they have said consider?
Because in first trimester in recurrent, they said we will give from 36 weeks onward. But here they said that we should consider until delivery.
There is another very important point.
Because we are doing cesarean section.
Yes, exactly. Because we are doing cesarean, we are planning for cesarean section. We don't want to go for vaginal delivery. Yes. That's why we will consider it. We will discuss it. Okay.
Thank you.
Send swabs for lower segment baby. No, Inara. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. If there is cesarean section, we will not send samples. Okay. If we have any concerns that baby might have the herpes, then we will send samples. Otherwise, in vaginal delivery and in third trimester primary infection, we will send samples.
Ma'am, but in point A and B also in the flow chart, it is written that you have to consider acyclovir. They have not written offer.
Sorry, once a minute. Yes,
ma'am, if you go back to
that's why, because you have raised a good point. This is because it has a low risk of infection. We are only giving for suppressing. Okay.
True.
Okay. Should we move ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now we study the rest of the guideline. Primary genital herpes. Okay. We will discuss all about primary genital herpes, treatment and antibiotic. So what treatment need to be given? First of all, remember, herpes is a STI, right? So if a woman comes with the genital herpes, So we will refer the patient to genitourinary medicines physician. The first option should be the genitourinary medicine physician if it comes in an MCQ or EMQ to confirm diagnosis by PCR. So if you have a strong suspicion on clinical examination, still you will go for confirmed diagnosis by PCR, then screen for other STIs. The second point is we will give oral acyclovir. IV only if disseminated infection. The dose, all of you know, 400 milligrams 3 times a day, usually for 5 days. What is the purpose of the dose? For the reduction and severity of symptoms and a decrease in the duration of the viral shedding. Acyclovir we have discussed earlier is not licensed in pregnancy, but it is safe. We have to tell this patient. And you know, herpes is a very painful condition. Most of the scenarios it will written the painful ulcers. Herpes is not without pain. Herpes is equal to pain. Okay, remember herpes pain. In every scenario, especially this is pregnancy related. When we will discuss other infections outside pregnancy, then we need to differentiate between infections, and herpes is always associated with pain. Okay, so much pain that a patient needs to catheterize. So we will give paracetamol and topical lidocaine. 2% gel can be offered to relieve pain. And there is a neonatal transmission of 41%. Okay, primary herpes, if we go for vaginal delivery, then there is a 41% risk of having neonatal herpes. And what is antibody testing? So in up to 15% of cases where a woman presents the first episode of clinical HSV infection, it will actually be a recurrent infection. Okay, 15% of cases patients say it is my first episode, but it will be a recurrent episode. So how we will differentiate between primary and recurrent? And it is very important to differentiate between primary and recurrent episodes because it will change our mode of delivery. And in UK, they don't easily do cesarean section. So they are very concerned about it. Okay. So how we will differentiate? We will go for type specific antibody testing. And it will shows that the antibodies are HSV or HSV2 present. And in this way, we can differentiate between the two, that whether it is primary or secondary. But remember, antibody testing takes 2 to 3 weeks. And if a time comes, a delivery time comes in 2 to 3 weeks, then preferably we will consider it a high risk patient and we will go for cesarean section if the patient says that this is my first episode, if we don't have time for antibody testing. Okay. So what is the importance? This was a question I have to ask from you. I have told you myself. Importance of antibody testing. What is the importance of antibody testing?
For neonatal management data. And to differentiate, it's either is a primary or recurrent.
Yes, and why we want to differentiate? To decide the mode.
Because both have mode of deliveries to decide.
Yes, because of the mode of delivery depends on it. Yes, Twinkle, HBK, right. Mariam, decision mode of delivery, Sabah, Huda, yes. Basically, we want to opt a correct mode of delivery. Okay. So the next is recurrent genital herpes. So risk of neonatal herpes is 0 to 3% for vaginal delivery. And what was the risk of primary genital herpes for vaginal delivery?
41%.
41%, yes. Recurrent herpes usually are less painful, are short lasting, and patient can recover without antiviral treatment. Okay. So supportive treatment, saline baths, paracetamol, and analgesia can be given if the patient has complaint of pain. Yes, 41, yes, yes. I'm glad you are active at this moment. Okay. So herpes, if a woman present with herpes at the onset of labor. So again, we have discussed the hallmark: primary, cesarean, recurrent, SVD, low risk. Again, the same situation at the onset of labor. We will send vaginal swabs, we will inform neonatologists. The only difference is if the woman with history of primary herpes present at the onset of labor, then we have to give IV acyclovir intrapartum to the mother and subsequently to the neonate. Okay, 5 milligram per kg every 8 hours. This is the IV dose, and subsequently to the neonate. And we have already discussed the dose of the neonate. IV dose for mother is less and for neonate is more. 5 milligram per kg for mother, 20 milligram per kg for baby. Why? Because mother's weight is more. So it will be a greater dose if we calculate in terms of neonatal weight. Maybe consider for those mothers opting for vaginal delivery. If she is not going for vaginal delivery and membranes have not been ruptured, then we can go for straightforward cesarean section. And if a woman wants vaginal delivery, or if she comes in a very advanced labor, then we will try to avoid invasive procedure. And these are the invasive procedures, please try to remember, because these will also come in HIV. Application of fetal scalp electrodes, fetal blood sampling, artificial rupture of membranes, instrumental delivery should be avoided in herpes at onset of labor or primary infection, right? And if a recurrent herpes, then invasive procedure. If a woman goes, we will discuss in recurrent herpes that there is a 0 to 3% risk of having a neonatal herpes, and if she opts for vaginal delivery, and if a time comes we need to do invasive procedures, then they can be opted, they are not contraindicated. But again, the final decision will be mother. We will discuss the situation with the patient, and patient will discuss it. Patient will tell us it's her decision. Dose difference in mother. Nadia, for the baby, for the mother, it is 5 kg. Okay, sorry, 5. Just a minute. Okay, this is. For the mother, it is the 5 milligram per kg, but for the baby, it is 20 milligram per kg. Okay, in baby, the dose is more, while in mother, the dose is less. Why is it so? Who will tell me why the mother dose is less and the baby dose is more?
Because there is a risk of
Because of low weight of baby.
Yes, yes, it is a yes. Baby is low weight. Okay, if mother weight is 70 kg and we give 5 milligram per kg, it is a very heavy dose with associated side effects. Okay, so that's why very low dose in the mother, and in the baby. And the other thing is the baby is more risk of more risky for baby. It is more risky to have a herpes than the mother. So baby needs more dose. It's 20 milligram per kg, and in both of the situations, the dose should be given 8 hourly. That is 3 times a day. Baby is low weight, more risk to baby. Yes, Gulshan has very rightly explained. Baby is low weight and baby is at more risk. Okay. So now prom or P-prom. If a patient come prom or P-prom, okay. In primary herpes, if a patient come pre-labor rupture of membranes, no guidance is given. It is an individual decision of the physician, but most likely to expedite the delivery. But if it is a P-prom, again, there is a very limited evidence. We need to arrange an MDT, and it will involve an obstetrician, neonatologist, and gum physician. If decision for immediate delivery, then the benefits of cesarean outweigh. Okay, not overweigh. I have written wrongly. Outweigh. Benefits of cesareans outweigh. If conservative IV acyclovir should be given, the same dose 5 milligram per kg 8 hourly steroid should be given. If delivery within 6 weeks, still cesarean can confer some benefits despite prolonged rupture of membrane. So see again, the same thing is repeated here. In primary herpes, better to go for cesarean section, even if P-prom, even if patient comes in at the onset of labor, better to go. Still the cesarean benefits outweighs the SVD. But if a woman with P-prom comes with recurrent herpes and she is at less than 34 weeks, we will do conservative management with antiviral treatment. And if it is come at more than 34 weeks, then we will consider is at patient is not having herpes, and we will manage the baby according to the RCOG guidance, the P-prom guideline. Okay, less than 34 weeks, conservative management with antiviral. More than 34 weeks, 34 is the cutoff. Then we will consider as the mother does not have herpes. Okay.
Please repeat.
So, yes, what do you want me to repeat?
P-prom management.
In primary or recurrent?
In primary.
In primary, go for cesarean section. Okay.
Irrespective of gestation age. irrespective of gestational age.
When you have taken the decision to deliver the baby, not irrespective of the right, it is written if decision for immediate delivery, any indication, if there is any indication for delivery, for example, if patient goes in chorio, there is a suspected fetal compromise, any condition for immediate delivery, then go for cesarean section. Or if you want to wait, or if you want to keep the patient conservative, then give IV acyclovir, and whenever you plan delivery, go for cesarean section. Am I clear?
This IV cycle 5 milligram. This is during labor or not?
No. During labor is only in GBS. Okay, or if the patient has been identified as having herpes at the time of onset of labor. That was the previous slide. Now we are discussing patient is already having primary herpes and she has undergone PPROM. What is the baby most commonly acquired infection? From where? The baby most commonly acquired infection?
Through birth canal during delivery.
Through infected maternal secretions. Okay. So if there is a PPROM, the baby is very high risk of taking maternal herpes, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why we are giving IV acyclovir.
IV acyclovir 8 hourly for how long? How long for 8 hourly?
Actually, it is not mentioned in guideline for 8 hourly for how long. Okay. So better not to confuse. If they have not written, they will not ask you. I have not read in guideline. If anyone, yes, I have also thought about duration, but it was not written in GTG. So no need to worry about it. Okay.
Dr. Satwa, I have a question.
Yes.
If PROM occurs for more than 4 hours, then what will be the mode of delivery?
If PROM occurs for?
Primary.
Yes.
In primary herpes.
They have written that there is no guidance about how to manage PROM in primary herpes, but preferable to expedite earlier. Like in GBS. We have said in GBS, expedite earlier. But in GBS, there is a specific guidance. In herpes, they don't give any guidance, but still preferable to expedite the delivery.
Because there is one MCQ which is frequently coming in our exam. No? Okay,
Yes.
What is the mode of delivery if the PROM is more NVD or C-section? So we opt for NVD.
If what was the MCQ? If the patient has PROM and primary herpes, and what will be the mode of delivery?
More than 4 hours. For more than 4 hours. What is the mode of?
Yes, the 4-hour cutoff point has written in guideline, but still they have said that there is no good evidence available for it. Okay, there must be some other points to help the answer. Kindly set me that MCQ, then I will be in a better position to answer this question.
Okay, Dr. Tatwa, I will send.
If they have asked such a question, there are 2 or 3 things. They will not ask a single question, a single stem that patient has PROM and primary herpes and what more than 4 hours PROM and what will be the mode of delivery. There must be other risk factors or no risk factor. They have mentioned there is no risk factor. Okay, send me their MCQ.
Okay, Dr.
Okay.
Now recurrent herpes. This antiviral.
It is written in the guidelines that there is some evidence that suggests that benefit of cesarean section reduce if the membrane has been ruptured for more than 4 hours.
Yes, there is some benefit, but it is not recommendation. Until unless there is a recommendation, then you have to decide according to the whole scenario.
Okay.
Okay, according to the maternal wishes, the viral load, all things need to be encountered. But if there is a recommendation, then you have to go accordingly.
Okay.
Okay. So the next is if the woman is HIV positive. Okay, so HIV positive is same recommendation as primary genital HSV infection, but in the case of if the patient has recurrent herpes, then the same recommendation as for the HIV. If a patient present with HIV and HSV, simple way to remember, patient have both infections. If the HSV is primary, manage as primary herpes. If the patient has recurrent herpes, manage as according to HIV guidelines. The only difference is in recurrent herpes, we will start suppressive acyclovir from 32 weeks because there is a high risk of having preterm delivery due to HIV. Okay, and the mode of delivery will be according to the HIV guidelines. If HSV seropositive, on the labs it comes that patient is HSV positive, but there is no history of genital herpes, then no need of suppressive therapy. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Clinically, there is no herpes, but patient is seropositive for HSV, then no need to give suppressive therapy. So how to do the postnatal care? We have discussed in the first slide that 25% of cases of a possible source of postnatal infection is responsible, usually a close relative of mother. Okay, those with oral herpetic lesions should not kiss the baby. Breastfeeding is recommended unless the mother has herpetic lesions around the nipple. Parents should be told early signs of infection. What are the early signs of infection? Poor feeding, lethargy, fever, or any suspicious lesions. Okay, so should we revise or do you have any question? Anyone can ask any question?
Can you define the management of herpes in from recurrent herpes?
What do you want to ask in P from recurrent herpes?
If greater than 34 weeks.
Look, we will manage is the same as the recurrent herpes. The only difference is we try to prolong the pregnancy till 34 weeks.
Like GPS, like in GPS, we continue the pregnancy up to 34 weeks. In
same
prom,
here, we will try to take pregnancy till 34 weeks.
In prom, we immediately induce.
Yes, in prom we immediately induce. In P-prom, in both the conditions, we try to prolong pregnancy till 34 weeks.
Okay, thank you, clear.
Okay, welcome. Just a minute. So anyone has any question or should we revise? Sidra and Gulshan says we should revise.
Yes, revised.
Okay, let's revise. Okay, so, yeah, who is writing on the board? It's coming on the screen. Okay, so primary herpes in third trimester. What comes into your mind when you think of primary herpes in third trimester?
Risk of neonatal herpes 41%.
41%
Okay,
and mode of delivery, cesarean section.
Yes, yes, okay, okay. Right. So it is a high risk pregnancy and cesarean section. What comes into your mind when you heard about recurrent herpes?
Vaginal delivery.
Vaginal delivery and
2%.
Low risk, also high risk pregnancy.
yes, it is low risk and spontaneous vaginal delivery. Is there any congenital anomaly with herpes?
No, no.
Not
Yes.
genital infection.
That is neonatal infection. That's not fetal infection. Okay, there is no congenital anomaly with herpes. Miscarriage and preterm with herpes. Is there any increased risk of miscarriage and preterm with herpes?
No.
No, no.
So up till now we have studied 3 infections. In which infection there is a risk of congenital anomaly?
Chicken pox.
Chicken pox.
Chicken pox. Very good.
What chicken pox?
Chicken pox in pregnancy has a risk of congenital anomaly.
Varicella.
Varicella. Yes. Okay. Varicella. Yes. Good. Okay. So the next slide. What is the dose of acyclovir, both oral and IV, for herpes?
400 milligrams TDS for 5 days and 5 milligram per kg IV 8 hours. 8 hourly.
And what was for chicken pox?
It's 800 milligram.
800
milligram
times a day for 5 days.
5 times a day.
4 times a day for 5 days.
Yes, very good. Yes. Correct answer. Dose of acyclovir in baby.
20 milligram per kg.
20 mg per kg per 8 hourly.
8 hourly. Good. Okay. I'm looking at job box 8 hourly. Right. What swabs to be sent in baby?
Scores. Skin.
Course of skin, conjunctiva, rectum,
and rectum.
Oropharynx, rectum.
oropharynx and rectum.
And what test we will do on these swabs?
PCR.
PCR.
Or HSV.
Okay. Are they
HSV
for,
PCR.
and in which patients we will send these swabs? All patients with herpes?
No, only
Only
all
vaginal
patients.
Bond with
Primary herpes with vaginal delivery.
Yes.
Primary herpes with vaginal deliveries.
Yes, primary herpes in 3rd trimester with vaginal delivery. Okay. And in which condition we will also send lumbar puncture?
If baby is unwell. If baby is unwell.
If baby is unwell. Very good. Okay. So, very good. Now, this is the last slide and I have to assign tasks. So, better to volunteer. Who will, now this was the last session of this week. Now you have Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The next session will be from Monday. So, you have time till Sunday for these tasks. Who will do the task number 1, doses of all medicines in today's session?
Me, Neelam.
Neelam, okay. I am writing down the names and I am locking it. Dr. Neelam. Neelam, what is your full name?
Neelam
what is
Jahan.
your Neelam? Sorry?
Jahan.
You are for September attempt?
Jan.
Okay. So, and who will do mode of transmissions of all 3 infections?
Dr. Saharish.
Dr. Saharish, Gulshan, Paras. Okay, Dr. Paras, I am today writing your name. Dr. Saharish, I will give you next task, okay?
Okay.
Paras. So, comparison of fetal and neonatal problems will be done by Dr. Saharish.
Okay.
Saharish, okay? Of all the 3 infections, okay? So, who will collect all the incidences, number and figures? Task.
Dr. Shaista.
Dr. Shaista, okay. Dr. Shaista, you are for September attempt or?
Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Dr. Shaista, okay. So, I will post this slide on the Telegram group. Till Sunday, please submit your task, okay? Okay. So, it's 1:16. Yeah, we are closing this session and after that, still if you have any questions, you can tag me at Telegram group and ask. Okay. Thank you, Neelam. Thank you, Mariam, Dr. Huda. Positive and negative predictive stress unka bata de. What do they interpret? Huda, we will definitely study statistics. Dr. Mahjabi has arranged a special person for statistics, and they will clear all statistical points in that session. Okay, no worries. In GBS, we have only discussed that amniocentesis have a good negative predictive value. Thank you, Sabah. Thank you, Uda. Thank you, Twinkle, Neelam, Roshni. Thanks a lot, all of you.
Thank
Sapna.
you, Dr. Taqwa. Okay.
Okay, Allah Hafiz. Bye bye. Thank you, Allah Hafiz.